No, no! 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 No!
Well, at least the Seahawks have a slightly better draft pick.
So the Seattle Seahawks have officially missed the playoffs. Although they finished with above 500 record of 9-8, and although that the Seahawks did win the final game of the season, it was still unfortunately not enough for the Seahawks to make the playoffs, even for the final spot. So unfortunately, we're going to have to wait another season to see if the Seahawks can make any kind of a run to the Super Bowl, which honestly, I don't see, and there's a lot of issues I see with this team now. Before I get into this, hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. And before I go, thank you very much for being part of this Seahawks season where I got the privilege to cover some of the games like the Lions game, Bengals, Cowboys, Eagles. That was the best one, and the Titans and the Browns. But unfortunately, season is over. But otherwise, thank you very much. Now let's get into the video. So, because the Packers won against the Chicago Bears, that means the Seahawks are officially eliminated, which means, yep, Seahawks are going to be watching the playoffs from home. I'll be watching the Browns closely. Now, although it was cool that the Seahawks did win that final game against the Cardinals, especially with Geno Smith's nothing to lose throw to Tyler Lockett for the touchdown. And then the Cardinals, they lost on the field goal miss by Matt Prater. Seahawks missed the playoffs. Now, I want to go over the problems. Now, I know I sounded like I repeated myself, but I'm kind of just bummed that the Seahawks lost, so my brain's kind of just dead. But let's go over some problems. So the first popular problem I want to go over is the defense. Defense has been terrible under Clint Hurt, and I thought Ken Norton was bad. But Clint Hurt, he has led the Seahawks defense to some of the worst defenses that we have ever seen. We're talking in the bottom 30s, and with this kind of personnel the Seahawks have with Leonard Williams, Bobby Wagner, Devon Witherspoon, like this team is absolutely talented with defensive players, but I think that there needs to be a change in defensive coordinator. I think Clint Hurt's got to go. I think he's proven himself out of the job. I've been saying it for years. Seahawks should have hired Dan Quinn before the Cowboys did, and I think if Dan Quinn was coaching the Seahawks for defense, I think there would be a little bit of a difference. Now, the other thing is, I wonder if Pete Carroll could be on his last times in Seattle because he's not getting any younger. I think the clock management thing is it's just not there. And I think it's just getting up there in age. Yes, he's in really great shape. He seems healthy for above 70-year-old man. Oldest coach in the NFL, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it's time, but I think Pete Carroll just needs to find anything else other than Clint Hurt to be defensive coordinator. Now, the other problem, I think, is the quarterback problem. Geno Smith and Drew Lock. I just don't see Drew Lock as the future, and Geno Smith as good as he was, considering how he had been struggling throughout his entire career in the NFL. I just think it's unfortunately time. Like I thought, honestly, last year, I thought he was going to help the Seahawks get the number 1 pick last season, but that wasn't the case. He actually turned out pretty decent. The thing is, he's just not able to close games. Like we saw him struggle against the Steelers. We saw him struggle, couldn't close the Bengals game. Several games where it should have been closed, and it just didn't happen. And let me go over some of those games that did stand out that I thought was alarming to me for the Seahawks. Okay, let's go over, you know what, let's just go over every single one of them. Rams game, you couldn't really do much about that one, so I guess I'll give that one a pass. It was just a bad game, and playing against the Rams when they're fully healthy week 1 isn't necessarily a good thing. Bengals, you really should have won that game.
2nd and 9. And here's Smith looking to pass. Doesn't have much protection. Here's the pass. And that's going to be picked off. And that was just way too easy of an interception.
That one hurts. Geno should have been able to close that one. The Ravens game, I'm not going to give too much of a hard time about. The Rams game, definitely. Defense was bad. Well, actually, considering that, they only gave up 17 points, but there were times where Geno and Drew Lock just couldn't get it done.
They are getting ready. And now here's the snap. The kick. Is it going? And it is going right. And that is the end of the game as Jason Myers just missed the field goal.
But in an indoor stadium, Jason Myers still should have got that.
The 49ers game, you couldn't really do much about that. The Cowboys game should have been finished. Especially Geno Smith had 2 chances. So I'm going to say that's about 2 games where they should have won. And then the Steelers game should have won. So that's 3 games that Geno Smith arguably cost the team. And that would be a 12-5 season, and you're easily in the playoffs. And let me see if maybe that could have won the division. You could have been tied for the division at least, and you could have won it. So I think the quarterback thing needs to be changed, especially when you have too many third down situations and clutch situations and you're showing the inability to close games. I think that's where it needs to be at least looked at. Now, what are the possible additions the Seahawks can make? Maybe you bring back Russell Wilson if the bridge isn't completely burned, but the thing is, I think it is. Unfortunately so. As much as I would love him back, I just don't think it's gonna happen since the way he left wasn't exactly ideal. Fun fact, Russell Wilson's house is still hilariously on the market. Nobody wants that house, I guess. It's a big house, too. Other things, too, is I want to look at the draft. I want to see if the Seahawks could be in range for Bo Nix. There were guys like Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels. Now, Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels, they're going to be top 10 picks, so I don't think the Seahawks will have a chance at them. Not that I don't want them anyway, because one of them's a Heisman winner, and something always usually goes wrong with Heisman winners for quarterbacks, and they skipped their last bowl games. But Bo Nix, he's the man that showed up. He's a faithful man, and I think NFL coaches would like to see that because that means strong work ethic, and brings really good culture to the team. And I do think that Bo Nix could be that guy for the quarterback. So I hope that the Seahawks take a look at him. He's got good feet. I think he's a great fit for the offense. He just has to work on his passing game. Hopefully that gets worked on. But other than that, I would look at defense and quarterback. I think if you can at least fix the defensive problem, then you're easily a playoff team. Maybe just get rid of Clint Hurt and find someone else. Maybe swoop Dan Quinn, pay a little bit more than what the Cowboys are paying him. So get Dan Quinn on the job because he can easily fix this defense. But those are my quick thoughts on this entire Seahawks season. Once again, thank you very much for being part of the Seahawks season. Thank you very much for being part of my channel. And have a good day and go Hawks.
On 3rd and 10s. And now here's Drew Lock. He's got some time. And here is the big pass. And that's going to be caught by Jackson Smith-Jigba. And